How's it going, everybody? Coffee, that's amazing. Oh, wait, let me fix my camera. My camera's being a sussy little baka. Baka, 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 baka. There we go. That's it. That's amazing. We're in Ace Attorney Land. Yeah, we're here. Look at us. We're not in the ColeHillChills void anymore. We're in Japan. It was it Gabe suggest. Oh, that's even better. I was gonna say, like, were you like sneaking it in? No, your boss was like, yeah, go for it. Amazing. It sounded like the event was a blast, man. That's great. Imagine drinking at work. Couldn't be me. Never done it. It would be fun if I did, but nah, alas. He didn't say to get drunk. Oh. Imagine drinking. Oh, have you put down the bottle, Drippy? You started at 47. You're like, you know what? I've had enough alcohol in my life. I'm gonna put the bottle down. Good for you, man. Good for you. He said, go ahead and have some drinks, but I'm a lightweight. Hey, same. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so did you just have one drink? That would absolutely be me. I just need. You had one? Yes, coffee. Yes, team lightweights. Yeah. Oh, 7% is strong. That's quiet. That's quite the alcoholic beverage you got there. Like 5% is usually what I have in some drinks, but 7% is quite up there. Cherry pie cider? That sounds like a dream. Oh my god. Oh my god, that sounds amazing. I want one. That sounds so good. Bro, I'm so jelly now. Can you send some to Argentina the next time you're at an event? I'd love to try some. I'd love some of that. Hello, Blastoise. Drippy, did you make a museum for coffee? Is it done yet, or is it still under construction? What was that? I don't know what you're talking about. What was what? It's a stressful event to work at, so maybe a drink was in order. Honestly, fair. That's absolutely fair, man. Anything that helps, you know? It's under construction? Man, I hope it gets built soon. I can't wait to see it. It's in the middle of Philly. I've never been, so I couldn't say how that is like. City driving is the worst. Ah, I can't imagine that. Driving is the worst, but city driving is super worse. City parking is, oh my god. If it's anything like trying to find a parking spot in Toronto, I feel that. I feel that. City parking is just, you know? A lot of people just don't own cars in Toronto because there's no parking and the driving is awful. Like it's faster to just get places with like a bus or the subway. Like there's no need for a car unless you're like super mega rich, you know? It's almost as bad as driving in Manhattan. I imagine that is also similar to Toronto. Bayleaf, Bay! He's my Pokemon. He's on my shoulder. It's Bayleaf. doo boop boop doo boop doo boop boop doo boop doo boop boop doo doo. Oh, Coffee, we gotta catch you up on what happened in Ace Attorney last stream. We will when we jump into it. I would just take public transit, but there literally is none for most of the way there. Oh, ew. Oh, so you had to drive? Oh, that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. I shaved my face yesterday, and I'm not used to looking at myself with a baby face. It's very odd. I've had like stubble or beard for like 2 months. I'm like, who is this man? Who is this stranger staring at me? He looks like a baby. I am brain empty today. I'm trying to think of topics to talk about, and I'm just like, oh, I didn't launch the Kerbos. Oh my god, I opened it up, but I didn't let the Kirby's out of their pen. I didn't let them free. Kill just be like da 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 da. There we go. And here, have some stars, guys. Have some stars to make up for it. I tried to watch stream later, but it made me so salt for the internet fiasco. They ended up ranting in Discord and had to stop. I'm so sorry, Coffee. That's so sucky. Like, of course your Wi-Fi chose to die right when stream was starting. Like, ugh, we missed you, man. You typed those in sync with me? That makes it even more special, Trippy. Yeah, you know what, Coffee? Because you missed stream. Which one's your Kirby? This one's Coffee. There you go. There you go, Coffee. Get that moolah. He's upside down. There he is. For an hour when stream started. Oh my god, that's so frustrating. I'm sorry, Coffee. We'll jump into it, and I'll give a brief explanation as to what happened. Genie! No, 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 Genie of the North. Oh no, I'm in the void. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. Ah. Okay, there we go. That's better. What would that look like if I put it under the Elgato? Never mind. It did nothing. There we go. Ace! Oh my god, Ace, how's it going? Who definitely isn't across the hall from me right now. When Glum shows up, she will be the same thing. She will be just down the hall from me. And thought of you? Aww. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so wholesome. All right, let me give a quick background to what happened yesterday on Ace Attorney. It's been 2 months since Chisato has come to Japan, but things haven't been easy for her. You see, her best friend is being framed for murder. Who got murdered, you ask? The Swan Lady from the first game. She was found dead in a hut in a beach. The next day, she was supposed to be transported to a prison, but she was murdered instead. And now, Susato's trying to save her best friend. But Susato isn't allowed in the courtroom because she doesn't have a pee-pee. So she has to disguise herself as a male student, and she's disguising as Ryan's cousin, Ryutaro Naruto. And that's basically all that happened. We're trying to prove her best friend innocent. There's been some familiar faces that have popped up, but right now we know a photographer was there who took a picture of the murder, so he probably knows what's going on, so we're trying to find him. Yeah, Swan Lady died. She straight up died from poisons, being stabbed by a poison dagger. Why was the person on a beach? That's what we want to know too. She's supposed to be transported to like some other facility to like properly judge her or something. But she was like, for my last day, may I please go to the beach? And they were like, oh, a pretty lady. Yes, of course. You can absolutely go to the beach before you're transported. Also, may I remind you that she was a murderer. She was being, like, we found out she was a murderer in the first case in the first game, so that's why she was going to prison. But they were like, yeah, sure, no, you can waltz through the beach. That's fine by us. And with that, let's hop back into it. Let's let this murderer go to the beach by herself, right? Right? Well, not completely by herself, to be fair. Do you guys remember the detective from the first game? He was in the early game. He's a butler who kept coughing up blood. He was there disguised as a beachgoer who was supposed to be watching her, but he yet again let another person die on his watch. I'm still mad about Kazuma. Save file 3. No, sorry, Chippy, I have not. I'm actually using it. Wheat people? What? And this is Susato's best friend, Ray. For those of you who haven't seen Susato in the male costume, it's really cute. She gets really chubby cheeks. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray! You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. And that's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said to Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence, that you stand by me to the last. And I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. Oh, yeah, also, Ray definitely has a crush on Susato. She keeps blushing around her. Cole, the best part of those Funkos I got is a Awizara t-shirt fits. Wait. What Funkos? What Awizawa t-shirt? Did I miss something? Yippee! Yo, Ted! How's it going, man? How you doing today? No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. I'm no better, you know. Oh? Even though in my heart I knew that you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato, I'm sorry. After I stood there and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh no. I think this is a situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. I got a bunch of MHA Funkos yesterday. Oh, I love them. I have Deku, Bakugo, and Kirishima. And I got a special box that was an Eraserhead Funko and a matching t-shirt. I'm so jealous. I really want Awizawa and Brainwash and Bird Boy. What's that's my nickname for him. What's what is the bird's name again from MHA? I always forget his name. He has Dark Shadow. Oh, and the All Might, yeah, and I have an All Might one that fell off the shelf. That's right. Oh, Drippy, you remember. Thin All Might, oh my god. Unbreakable Kirishima. Whoa, I have to look that up. And Deku of Airy. Aw, that sounds so cute. Dude. You have a Bob Ross Funko? Coffee Cup is winning. My favorite MHA character. Now we're gonna draw some fluffy little clouds. Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Sasato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. Okay, get a room, you two. Tokiyami! Thank you! I definitely had to Google. Okay, thank you, Ace. That makes me feel better. I'm gonna, painting some happy little trees. Yeah, we gotta paint some happy little trees and some fluffy little clouds. Also, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The English woman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. Oh my god, speaking of Bob Ross, we have this joke in our family. We always get somebody a Bob Ross something. We got my brother a Bob Ross mug. We got my sister a Bob Ross mug one year. But the best was when we got a Bob Ross bobblehead, and you could flip the pages on him to have different drawings. But we decided to put him in the manger. So on our fireplace, there's like a wooden manger my dad made, and there's like all these little animals, and like the 3 kings and baby Jesus, and then there's Bob Ross in the corner of his paintings. It's the best part. Don't try, attempt. Probably Bob Ross. I'm pretty sure that was Yoda. Isn't Yoda the one who's like, there is no do? No, there is no try. Only doing. Something like that. I approve. Canon. It is canon. Anything that goes into major is now officially canon. Oh no, I'm thin. That's not what I meant to do. Hold on. There we go. I'm pretty sure that was Jeannie's therapist. Oh yeah! Don't try it. My counselor that one time. I forgot about that. Oh my god. Canon complaint Christian lore. Bob Ross goes Jesus. The English woman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. We have still yet to determine if the swan was dead. Because like she was stabbed and poisoned, but I don't know why the swan is also lying there dead. I had a manger scene. It would exclusively had weird shit in it. I love that. Have you guys ever seen, oh my god, one of my favorite Christmas shorts is Mr. Bean's Christmas. He plays with a manger in a hotel, and it is the funniest video. He brings like dinosaurs and like UFOs into it. Oh my god. Watch Mr. Bean's Christmas. It's so good. He gets a turkey stuck on his head. It's classic. Classic, man. Oh, if you had a major. Sorry. I didn't read that properly, Coffee. I can't read. Yeah, no worries, Chippy. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at the time. That's right. Just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else.
so I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that.
A great mystery indeed.
I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up.
Speak up! I don't know if that's a song.
It'll be alright. However, it happened. And whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm gonna prove everything you saw is true.
Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order.
Yes, I expect the poison is gonna come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings.
My friend says he always wanted to hide a baby Jesus and replace it with a pineapple baked ham. What? And like one of those big church setups. Oh my god. Like the giant mangers, the life-size ones. That would be so funny. You would make a lot of people angry, but it would be so funny.
The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids.
You guys got that? Synthesized blend of alkaloids.
The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see.
Yes. Without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin.
Chemical reagent?
I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to the police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. Yay. Green perfume. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet.
In this newspaper article, exclusive, deadly poison stolen from New Monument Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing.
What?
It was when the professor and Sasuke-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. The so-called English lady swanned in, and without compunction said to Professor Mikotoba,
"Oh, Professor, surely your guests would love to hear about your work on that substance there." It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Sasuke-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had a little choice but to give him a courtesy introduction.
So then, Sasuke-san knew of the poison?
Yes, and it's highly likely the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too.
This many memo, son. By the way, that reporter joined you all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there.
Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
Welcome back!
Oh my god, I got bombed? That hasn't happened in a long time. Yes, we are back in Japan. Long story short, Swan Girl is dead. Susato's best friend is being framed. And we are disguising ourselves as a dude because girls aren't allowed to be in the courtroom. So Susato's disguising herself as Ryan's male cousin. It should have been there if anyone would have wanted him there.
Oh?
A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Sasuke-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph.
Look at this photograph! And then, presumably, he posted it, anonymously, to the police. Huh.
Yes, that must be what happened. Bayleaf Bay! Bayleaf, Bayleaf Bay! Bayleaf! Bay, Bay, Bay! Bayleaf! Bayleaf! Bay, Bay, Bay! Bayleaf, Bay, Bay! It's time to steal ourselves once again, then. Defense Attorney, Ryutaro Naruto.
Yes!
Boo-doo-doo-doo.
Ria's put her faith in me now and told me everything. So I can't let her down. I had to prove what she's telling the court is true. I had to prove what really happened that day.
Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's court time. It's freaking court time. Let's go get some sussy people. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Mbami. Prosecutor Ouchie, have you summoned the new witness?
Before I address the question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share.
Oh!
What news? And why does he look so happy about it?
Look, it's Usato! Look how chubby her cheeks are! She's so cute!
During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikatoba's laboratory at Yuma University.
I'm kidding!
The police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Jezebel's Brett's life.
Excellent! I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course.
I had the reagent delivered to the police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
And, Counsel? What were the results? This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade.
Uh-oh.
What? Are you sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it.
Armed with the reagent, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake. Uh-oh. There's no poison on the blade? That's not good. What? Coffee? What? The token straight at work came out? So happy for him? So he's not the token straight anymore. Oh my god. Amazing. What character development, man. That's awesome. Do you think that's a sign? Do you think maybe Larry might come out? Man, what a twist. I never saw that coming.
In short, the accused people accused earlier has been utterly destroyed. Ah!
Sounds like it gets shot by a shotgun every time. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Boo doo doo. Okay, I had to look it up to remind myself again exactly what that was. Yes. Okay.
Now, the prosecution is ready to call the new witness.
Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness.
No trace of poison on the knife. But if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body?
I thought that's what you might be doing. Like, I had a hunch, but I had to make sure I was on the right track. I was.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
Oh, every time they add a new character, I have to. Yo, we got him. Case solved. No. We got him. Case solved. 100%. 100% case solved. Are you guys ready for this? Look at the thing on his sleeve. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 circles. Boom. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? On the pen. Boom, boom. The 3 circles. The 3 circles. The 3 circles. Also, we discovered the 3 circles. I think meant it was the emblem of a school. Also. Wait, where's the picture of her lying down? The 3 circles. The 3 circles on her hair. The 3 circles. They're all connected. I don't know how, but they're all connected. That makes me feel better, Coffee. I try to keep up with them as much as possible, but like I do forget or confuse them sometimes. I watch your episode. Oh, but you just Drippy, you just watched the Mr. Bean Christmas. How did you like it? How did you enjoy it? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. How do we voice this guy? He fumbled his marriage. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Right in a journal. But it was funny, so it's funny, right? Did you like the manger scene? Did you like the manger scene, Drippy? That's the best part for me. 10 out of 10 review. Yo, do you guys think this is Lotta Hart's ancestor? He's got the big smile. He's a cameraman. Didn't Lotta also have gray eyes? Do you think? Do you think he might be related? Should I give him a lot of voice?
Lotta Hart! Right in the memo of the Soya News, I'm what people like to call a journal. What's a journal, Father? Do you know?
It's simply a contraction of journalist.
I'm there where the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they print it next morning. They don't call me the hero for nothing. The next guy of news. Oh, so it was you who took this photograph, was it? Well, what have we here? I'm sorry? Oh, brace yourselves, people! Many men such as a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll send it above the fold at 72 points in a 5-leg format in the morning edition. Huh? Alright then, let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryutaro Naruto. Next, what made you become a lawyer? I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose.
Ryutaru has certainly become very ambitious, I see.
I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while. By the way, my name is, Takisuchi Aochi. That's Takisuchi Aochi. The so-called dark horse of Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart. Nah, readers won't buy that. What?
Witness!
Yes.
What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for taking this picture. Ryutaru. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. I need to eat food, but I don't want to. Do you not want to eat food, or do you not want to cook? That's usually my problem. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. But that involves, like, going to the kitchen and putting effort into making something, you know? That's usually my struggle.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a journo if I didn't click quick when presented with a scoop like that. What now, would I? Sometimes stores call out to me, and sometimes I have to chase them down. But either way, we've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with, and fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my many-mannerism. Many-mannerism.
Oh, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself and Sasuke-san.
Yes, right. That was me, Many-Manno again.
But you were supposed to be going back to Shoyu news offices after your meeting.
But the scoop is I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest. Miss Brett's words. A criminal left to do as she pleases, just because she happens to be a British citizen. It's horse dung! This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Sting your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play. Humph. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo my memo pad. Are you ready? I read it out. It's all here, right? Here goes.
I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast.
A serious criminal going on some junket. The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story so I would hammer her in the press.
Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? Oh, a Cinnabon sounds so good. The grim scene portrayed in this photograph.
Oh yes, I saw my very own journal eyes. From start to finish. Through the viewfinder of my trusty camera.
Thank you, Many Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. The camera never lies.
The beach hide was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The English woman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the English woman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journo spirit burst into flames, quick as a flash. I whipped out my camera ready for the click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of my screens and poked the lens through the perfect shot.
Yo, he's buff though. He works out. Do you think he's giving himself a massive wedgie right now?
Reed screens, you say? Right. You can see them clearly through in the great shot I snapped.
Yes, you can.
The whole walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds.
Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat.
And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved. Did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish. And you said that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens. Luckily for me, they were pretty sodden woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was a camera of a lifetime. And a tenacity of purpose that's considered an admiral and a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's Many Messerwism in a nutshell.
At last! It would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict.
No! A wonderful, wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful.
Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question.
One question.
Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published?
Oh, that's right.
It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood.
Ha! More pathetic excuses.
Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest.
Burger. Alright, is this the cafeteria in your zoo, Jippy? Boop, 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 boop. Yes, amazing. Just one burger stand. I love it.
What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place? Call it journal instinct. Can you think of a better reason? Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because, as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman. Ah, I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the juror as a voyeur. It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge. Nope. You got it all wrong, little student boy. Sorry?
It's Trippy. I know what you're doing, and I don't appreciate it. Get that dairy out of your food court. Da Vinci. Aw, is Da Vinci enjoying it?
To my mind, all that was inside that hut was a scoop, nothing more, nothing less. Scoops know no gender, man nor woman. It's all news. That's even mental minimalism. It's basic journalism. If only the courtroom was indiscriminate. Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on?
Tell the court then.
When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day.
Well, that hasn't been done in a while.
Hold it! So you actually saw Mbami's son entering the hut? Yeah, and she was raging. Ready like my eternal spirit. And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly?
Mama Kin! Mid? No. Mama Kin? More like Mama Mid. Am I right? Am I right, guys?
And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly? You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing. Talking about the poison, I suppose. Nah, student girl walked right up to the Englishwoman and really started laying into her.
Goodbye. Kin, you came in here and said mid, okay? You don't bring the fire unless you're ready to get burned yourself, son. Da Vinci and I will say hello when we go. Aw, Da Vinci.
I mean, if she laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs.
The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism.
But the student's rantlings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time. He really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest. Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mighty angry. And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me. Which was the climactic moment that I caught on my film.
is that you put mom as a mom. I did it so quickly, Chippy, I didn't even have time to think. I was like, okay, the game's over. I have to go set up stream. And then I saw Kin's mess, and I'm like, your mom. And then I went back to to setting up stream. There was no thought behind it. It just came out. It was pure inspiration.
Hold it! Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Ha! The precise moment! I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out, from start to finish. I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed.
Woolly Bear!
Right you are! It's all here in my mini memo pad. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the English woman was on this stool on the back of the hut here. Yes, yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that. She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly. Is what I have noted down. It's my turn to by now, trying to interrupt. Ugh! Then, the next moment, as I watch, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The English woman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, plunged a knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other. Streamer! Suddenly streamer is joining the stream. How's it going, dude?
I think my webcam's like slightly behind again. What do you describe as a grim crime indeed?
Never sugarcoat the truth. That's many mannerism says.
I'm not, believe it or not, streamer. This is part 2 of the beginning. Trials in this game are long. They go on for a while.
By the way, many mannerism son.
Oh my goodness! Da Vinci! Da Vinci's here! Hi, Da Vinci. No, I don't think so either. I'm glad you're real.
I'm real. Oh my god, a real cat. Sorry, no, I'm a person.
The stretches.
I think we're leaving.
Oh! Someone's a little sassy. Goodbye, Da Vinci. Chippy wants to do a backflip. Yeah. Can it be Da Vinci instead, Trippy? Human, let me go. Whenever Da Vinci meows, you know, the are gonna come out.
No, that was a, I think he might have been.
Ah, okay.
That was a sad.
That was a
cry.
sad cry? Aw.
Okay, I will bring him back and I will make him do it back.
Wait.
We both do it back.
Yeah, we're about, hold on. We're about to do a backflip. Hold on. Wait, guys, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Yeah, it's gonna be really, really fast. So you have to be. Oh my God!
I thought you can like rotate it over.
No.
You can
Yo! Landed it!
fucking go! We did it, guys.
We did an epic backflip. You're welcome, guys.
Cole actually did a backflip with his chair.
That was so sick. Yo, thanks, Jiffy, man. We've been working on it. I forgot I could do that.
Wow, I'm exhausted now. I'm gonna go back.
All right. He does better with being picked up than Woolly Bear does. Yeah, he's okay sometimes. Usually, sometimes if you touch him, he won't like it at all. But for the most part, he's okay being picked up. Deserve a rest after that sick flip. Yeah, it took a lot out of me, honestly. Ugh, it takes a lot of energy to flip like a pro, you know? Surprised you could stream after that breathtaking. Honestly, I'm feeling a little motion sick, but it's okay. I'll pog through it for you guys. I'll pog through the pain. With Wooly, it is just continued prolonged screaming. Aww. He's a floor cat. He likes the floor.
By the way, Mini Minnow-san, whilst you were watching the terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent that tragedy rather than capture it on film? Join us to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our reason. The Terry. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all?
It's like turning on the screen button.
Obviously not. Head observer always remains on the outside looking in.
On the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving through a window.
And that's something to be proud of, is it?
Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor. I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony.
Father, what are you...
I will grant that defense request.
Well, nihilism is the foundation of many memorism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless.
It's funny in VC when Willie is screaming, but I also feel kind of bad for him. Aww. Alright, Sony streams always like a fever dream? Yes. Like, on the nose streamer. They always do. Oops. Seconds later, to go put on that throwing things for this one.
Hold it! Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Ah, the precise moment. I didn't just see that. I saw the whole hellish...
Oh, wait, did I already press on this one? I already pressed on this one. I know, this guy has 4 animations. You can tell he's not a very important character. No, skip. 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 Drippy, you would love this game because it's autoplay. You can literally let the game play itself. Like, you don't have to do anything. You're basically watching a show.
Hold it! The court is fully aware of your desire to capture the, incident on film, I'm sure. But why, then, did you choose to post a photograph anonymously to the police?
Can you turn it on, please? No! I want to actually play it. And then I can't pause and talk to you guys.
I'm afraid I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. I'm asking why, as a journalist, you decided not to make a story out of the incident.
For like 4 seconds, try to keep up. No. I don't want to miss stuff.
Think of me as a sculpture who makes art out of the sordid private details of other people's lives. But I never discuss my own personal life on principles. I mean, that's basic minimalism. It's not something to boast about. No doubt your burning desire to see the truth exposed. And just as someone motivated you.
I did think about it for a second. I know you guys are the little devils on my shoulders, but like you're both the devils. You're like, skip Ace Attorney. And then there's Woolly Bear and Da Vinci going, yeah, on the other side. The brain cogs were turning. They were considering it.
That's it. That's brilliant. My burning desire to see something or other exposed. There has to be a good reason why he didn't think to write an article about what he saw, though.
By your own admission, you were outside the hut.
How did? But the two women inside didn't notice. Ah, obviously not. If they had, where would I be right now? In jail, I swear. Which you'd think you would make you reflect on what you were doing. No, a journalist's job is to collect little snippets of life as unobtrusively as possible. Leave nothing but footprints. Take nothing but photos. Yes, that's spot on.
Yeah, she honestly is. Honestly is trippy.
Did he just make that up? The point is, a witness risked life and limb to obtain this photograph. And this photograph reveals the whole truth. There is nothing more to be said.
Never once stepped foot in the hut, nor spoke things from it. I was there as an observer. A plant-based king.
Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all. Are you quite sure about that? I think you may have the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to break point already.
Oh, I figured it out. The reason he couldn't write about it is because he didn't have any ink left. And the reason he didn't have any ink left is because she had the pen. It's his pen. It's empty of ink, and you can see the ink on his hand. I got there, guys. I got there eventually. Is Meatloaf probably? I mean, if she is at all Maya's ancestor, it's probably a hamburger.
Oh, I see. You were scared. Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you. Yes. It was all I could do to stifle a scream and hold my hands steady enough to snap the shot.
You really should have someone help before thinking of your camera.
Minimalism and humanism don't always agree. And most of the time in those incidents, minimalism comes out on top. Huh. As a sculpture of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on. Surely he's making all this up.
Oh, Glem, you didn't see. There are new costumes coming up. I found them in the settings by accident that you can turn on and off for this game. She gets a amazing outfit. Like 10 out of 10 best girl outfit. You will love it. He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. What? Oh, I don't need to know about this. Okay, where do I present the pen to? Oh, it's his initials. Wait, where are people? I want to see the people. How do I... Well, I guess not. Okay. this one. Let me save first, though. do 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 do. Yeah, it is very, very cute. It is very steampunk. You will love it. This one, the pen.
Objection! Many Memo-san. Until now, I've had a firm belief. The newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You're spot on there. This is trippy. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Show You News on my arm. In a way, that's more Menoism. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers doesn't always share the same passion for the truth. What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel? Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? Ah! This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murder victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. RM. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Mbami. Is that a coincidence, I wonder? That your initials are also RM. No! No! Rayton Many Memo, RM. That's horse dung. Can't you see? One of the central tenets of many Menoism is being a pencil user.
But there's ink on your hand, sir.
And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, there is a very obviously blue ink stain.
What? Can you stop dabbing your tongue? Also, wait. Don't you dab your tongue with a pen to get the pen juices flowing? Isn't that a thing? I don't think you dab your pencil with it. Delicious. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is.
Horsey horse dung. Mammy Mendelssohn, it is not the case that before she died, you met with Jezile Brett in that beach hut. Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? Is it but another excuse? Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people of the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky. The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. Huh? And there's no need anyway, because its pen has more to tell. Yes, there is another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is.
In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this clue is.
Of course, Your Excellency.
It's the symbol. It's the symbol. Boop.
As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize. Many Memo-san.
You can get watercolor pencils? Okay. I feel like that's not where the tongue dabbing came from, though. I could be wrong. Goodness me! It's the emblem of the Show You News!
In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Show You News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they?
Music, yeah, it do be bumping.
Well, Many Memo-san, how do you respond? No!
Order! Explain yourself, witness!
Ha ha ha! So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics.
You left your pen in the murder scene, dude.
Alrighty then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded. Hi, I'll show you a news reporter on behalf of the public. Conduct an interview with the Englishwoman. An interview? You never mentioned this before. When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut.
Hold on, I'm gonna turn my TV up. I'm missing out on the great jams. Thank you, Drippy. Thank you, man. Greatly appreciate that, dude.
As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut.
Boop doop doo doo.
It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes. That's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as many memento says, the people don't pay their dues and unworthy news.
However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting, what transpired.
Got it, yes, alright, but... on one condition. Condition? In all good consciousness, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call the earlier witness, Sasuke Natsume-san. Sasuke-san? Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. Embrace yourselves, because it's not a harmless one, it's big. What?
There are your parents!
Many Muslim states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story.
Very well. I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the early witness back to the stand.
Sasuke-san, hiding something.
There he is. He's back to his fidgety self. He was very confident earlier.
I asked this woman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed, and the other witness is coming running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about it in his testimony, which is why many Muslim demands I reveal it now.
Okay. You mean to say the victim?
The victim regained consciousness.
Oh, well,
And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
well, that's, true, yes.
He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very different answer.
Is that Sasuke-san, Drippy?
An answer that incriminates the accused.
The look over the shoulder.
This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack?
It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose her with the English Rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even. Counsel for the defense. I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. This court must know and will know the truth.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated race somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut?
What was the interview, sir?
You asked her for an interview, you say? Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident that she was involved in at the end of the last year. About the case in which Dr. John H. Wilson lost his life. That's not the way I phrased it. Minimum some cause for a straight talking. Why did you murder Dr. Wilson? Is how I put it to her. Yes, that sort of talking is as straight as a ruler. Ask every question as if you're asking for a menu in a restaurant, I say. It's the best way. A veteran in the paper taught me that. And how did Miss Brett answer this?
Do you know what the ultimatum is? The TV show? The TV show based off of Love is Blind? If that's the case, yes. Glem and I watched it, and it was horrendously hard and amazing to watch. Oh. In that case, no, I don't know what it is, Drippy. Oh. The ulti meets him? What? No, I've never heard of this. What is the ulti meets him? I'm scared. Is it like 7 burger stacks or something?
How did Miss Brett answer?
Beerber, you gotta see this? Oh no. I'm scared.
With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Well, that told me. So I waltzed right out of there. Really? Something about that doesn't quite seem to fit together. Leave every room as if you're waltzing in a dance hall, I say. It's the best way. A veteran in the paper taught me that.
Excited to talk about the ultimatum, the reality TV show Drippy. No. Have you seen regular show? Honestly, no. I don't think I've seen a single episode. I know it. I know I've seen clips like the bluebird and the raccoon, but I can't say I've seen anything from it. It wasn't really on in Canada. I remember my brother went to New York once, and he was like, "Oh, it's awesome. The regular shows on the Cartoon Network, on Netflix, and everything. Like, it's awesome." I'm like, "Oh, I wish we had that." It's the birthplace of Ulti meets him. I'm scared. I'm trying to figure out, because she said there was something wrong about this. So I left the hut without making a fuss. But then how did he lose his pen, you know? Anyways. Yeah, it wasn't as great as America, I will say. Cartoon Network was a how do you say it? A backwash compared to America.
That was really very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brett had just turned you away. Persistence wins the prize! Many memoists will tell you that. Let me think. Let them think you've left. Then just when they lower their guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop. And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photograph. I'm sure the young yokel student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence. Actually, it's thanks to that photograph that we managed to identify the witness. And then he found me. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I've got nothing left to hide.
I don't believe that.
I'm sure.
America's wasn't as great as Latin America either. No anime is so sad. No anime. Yeah, Drippy, no anime. You missed out, man. Okay, let me watch this video Drippy sent me real quick. That looks like a lot. Okay. let me open that boy. Ew! Ew! I did not lick my lips because of the burger. They were dry, okay? It's a cheeseburger inside a cheeseburger with 2 cheeseburgers on top of it. That's way too many cheeseburgers.
Hold it.
That was a mistake. I don't know what I clicked, but it was a mistake.
And Sasuke remained behind the hut. That's right, yep. Our little friend here was blubbering a wreck, shaking all over from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging.
What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that taunted me whilst traveling abroad. Back behind barefoot bars. They'll be coming for me, surely. That's all I could think. I felt as though I were gasping for air, drowning in a sea of cold sweat. Poor dude.
Poor Sasuke-san. His experiences in London have scared him deeply.
Don't forget the sauce from the Himalayas. Yes. And the sauce from the Himalayas. It looks like it would give you a heart attack, man. As the world seemed to close in around me, I quietly recited a prayer to Amida Buddha. Eternal emptiness, empty eternity. The end is coming for me, surely. No sutures are resound in the courtroom, please. Are to resound in the courtroom, please.
And now, we come to Gusu Bar. That's when it happened.
There's an every meat burrito too. Ew, bruh. A vegan's nightmare.
Hold it. What question? What exactly did he say? Well, now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Riderman?
Arrgh!
Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman?
Well, in truth, I'd been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air.
Ray!
I ran up to the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as the inspector Hosananga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan, a moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
But what did you ask her, Sasuke-san?
I asked her, who did this to you? Oh? It's straight up a wiki for regular show food? That's amazing. Is a death sandwich where you have to eat it dressed as a certain way or you die. What? Oh man, I wish I got the regular show, man. That sounds amazing. Also, that one show with the blue guy and the fish friend. What's that one? Gumball? That one looks amazing too. Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing in response. But. When in the stand, you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or resistance, I demand you amend your testimony. I will! Gumball regular show are in the top 5 shows of all time. Really? Yeah, they're that good, Drippy? Amazing. Who does it to you? But she never replied.
Hold it.
What would be your top 5 shows, Drippy?
So, you tried to find out who the culprit was.
He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remain a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever.
However, you indicated that the victim failed to respond. Is that correct?
Adventure Time, OKKO, regular show, Gumball, anime. And I don't know. Well, there's 4 at least. I thought Adventure Time might be up there for you. Ooh, do. And then every other anime in the existence. Drippy loves anime, guys. Huge anime fan. I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stoop and mustache. Because I'm Japanese.
Oh dear. Sasuke-san really has developed a dislike for the English, it seems.
Having read the report on his time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia.
But the English woman didn't ignore you at all. Did she, Mr. Rudderman?
Huh? Well, yes, all right. She didn't respond in a manner of speaking, I suppose. Beastars! Drippy CM loves Beastars. Oh, that was good. Oh, that cracked me up, streamer. I love Beastars. Oh, that's so good. Oh, God. Unironically likes Beastars. Really? Interesting. I've seen a commercial and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna pass on the furry anime. Please and thank you. My sister also unironically likes it, I'm pretty sure. BNA? Oh, wait, no, what is BNA? I've seen a meme with the eagle opens its mouth and then it plays a fart sound effect. Amazing. Incredible. BNA is a brand new anime? A furry anime? I've never even heard of it. To realize how funny it is. I'm excited. I'm excited. The music from BNA actually slaps. BNA. No, I have no idea what that is. She just lit the trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Hold it. Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant. Sasuke-san, is that really true?
It's not easy to understand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked, who did this to you? It's... Wait, what? It's animal, not anime? Wait, what? It's not an anime, it's an animal?
This woman has summoned her last ounce of strength to point a trembling finger at the back of the hut. Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today.
But that's also where the cameraman was standing. It's brand new animal? What? Oh! It's the acronym. I was like, I didn't realize you were describing what the acronym was. It just I read it like this. BNA is a brand new. I thought you wrote anime instead of animal. It's like a brand new anime, a furry anime. And I was like, okay, what is it? And then you're like, also it's animal, not anime. I'm like, it's the show is an animal. I'm like, what? Brand new anime. I was so confused. Acronyms and me do not get along, man. All right, I gotta check this meme, this sweet meme that you sent me. Oh my god, I stuck. The violins, though. Again. Again. What have you done to me? Oh my god. Holy shit, that was so funny. Also, after seeing that clip, I'm definitely not watching the anime. Oh my god.
Arigato, oni-chan.
I turned into a monkey? What did I do?
Sasuke-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your testimony? But, fiddlesticks, I say! This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course. The English woman did point her finger towards the back of the hut, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. To somewhere at the back of the hut, where nobody was standing at all. You mean, that your memory of events and direction in the which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it, unclear. It's very, very unclear.
Maybe part of Ace Attorney streams is when we don't play Ace Attorney's shot.
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her fingers waver slightly. Still thinking of the owl and the hawk, but there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity for a salient. Why? Because the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing. It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could possibly have committed this crime.
I'm inclined to agree. And in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
No! No! The headline is writing itself. Dashing lawyer hopes dashed. 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extradition.
This is a serious blow, Sasato. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim of evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. 19K, let's go, streamer!
Arigato, Oni-san.
It's the way his head gets bigger, too. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all these details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need.
Rain gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened in the precise moment and was killed.
I know what to do. I know what to do. I already figured out. He stabbed her through the straws. Yeah, I know. I know what the answer is. The boop. I take it then, the defense has nothing further to add.
So, the gallant Yoko student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I am ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter.
This is a crucial turning point. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she stab the victim?
I know everything there is to know. I know how.
Objection!
Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being.
To what end, counsel?
The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
An alternate theory? Ha! None exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime. What? And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time.
Coco! How's it going?
By mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction, fantasy.
Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, counsel, I am prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young, Raitaru Naruto. Disappearing immediately because of spoilers anime. Yeah, no worries, Coco. Enjoy anime with your partner. I hope you have thanks so much for stopping in.
Yes, Your Excellency.
You will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment this victim was stabbed, where are you proposing the culprit was concealed? Here.
Take that!
Naruto-san would never give up, and I am Naruto now. The true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Brett, concealed in this location here.
Are you mad, counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut?
What?
100%. Order!
But student lawyer Naruto-san Esquire! That makes no sense at all! You just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap!
Yes, we did.
But I didn't see any suspicious individuals loitering about. I can swear to that. Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut, there is no way that he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut. Actually, Prosecutor Ouchie, there is a way. Ah! And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that it's precisely the way Miss Brett was killed. You're bluffing! You're bluffing,
The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You need to give us more guidance, counsel. The picture, I think. Yes. The picture.
Take that! Well, I presented it now. But I haven't the first idea why I chose it.
What? Because it went through the straw. What do you mean you don't know why?
It's something with a windfall, Your Excellency.
Why? On the hut itself? Oh my god. Hold the phone. You would think this would be enough. The way he, like, made a hole in the straw hut to put his camera through. Okay, yeah. There's a slight crack where she was sitting. Fine. I'll use the other picture. The original photographic print of the crime scene.
Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut. Objection! Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing. I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to.
Counsel, once again, I must call Boom!
Take that! Look closely just here. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds. No, I can't. I can't see any such thing. It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls, as you'd expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them.
This is extraordinary!
Yes! The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut.
Ah!
And of everyone present at the scene, there was only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Rayton Memi-Memo-san, it could have only been you. Ha! No!
Oh yeah, streamer! Whose pug is it? Pugs are adorable. Punt it, Chippy.
This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies exactly in the court center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume, as part of this farcical scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower? Objection! No, of course not. We're not. If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death.
Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. but she just sat on a stool on the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. Yeah, no worries, Drippy Man.
Stool.
He's watching stream. Aww, yay, Pug stream. It's my uncle's. Aww, pugs are adorable. They're really cute. Have another look at this photograph. My word! So, in fact, the victim was
Killed while sitting on that stool. By a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen.
He's barking at me? Aww. Hi, little bug. Hi, little buggy guy. Hello, bug. Woof, woof.
Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut. Before the defendant, Membami-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. By your silence, Membami-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge.
Was it this easy?
This is absurd!
That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter, which means that the defendant, Membami-san, is innocent of the crime.
Oh, thank goodness! I finally made him cave!
I must say, I've never been more proud.
No, this can't be. The Ouchie clan can't. What if my growth of hope? It wasn't all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't.
I see no reason for the continuation of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude the proceedings by...
Wow, this is not very convenient. This is how the highest court in our muddy empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals. But we've established the victim was stabbed from outside the hut. Through the reed screen walls.
That no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction.
So your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the English woman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant? Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed. It doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference, if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else.
Okay, he's definitely evil. That's a very evil stance.
What are you talking about? Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up. What?
Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness.
What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison. Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that the deadly poison you were developing was stolen from the laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right?
That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign this particular poison was used.
I see. So, presumably that means... that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed. Ah,
Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood.
ah, how refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan in mind. Precisely, and it matters not a jot who stabbed whom, in which back, and whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken but not by the knife, but by the poison.
A doggy? A silly little doggy? Let me see. Where is it? Puppies. Some horse tax. Aw, he tappins horses. Videos? Oh, hold on. Aww, you're so cute. Cute puppy. He's panting so hard.
But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already... Forgotten already, happy yokel. During these proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted improving. The blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. Ugh! So, let me get this down. The facts as skillfully established by the defense at the trial turn out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right?
It's 25 degrees. That's fair.
Ah!
Order! But where does this leave us? How in that case did the poison enter the victim's body? There is an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it.
You mean she drank it?
Having a look at the photograph here, as you can see. Yes, there is a bottle of wine. A bottle of carbonated water and a glass have been knocked onto the sand floor of the beach hut. The poison could have been slipped into either.
Somebody made Miss Brett drink it. Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned a woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Hold it.
Yeah, right, Ace? Like, the first one in the first game was like very tutorial like, but this one's like, yikes. You actually like Ace Attorney? Aww. See, Ace Attorney isn't mid. It's great. Pugs approved. I feel like the devs trust most players to know what to do. Yes, I agree, Trippy. There, like, at the very beginning, there was like some first Ace Attorney fan global. There was some tutorial, but like not a lot.
Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given the person who established it was you. Me? What on earth does that mean? Oh, let me catch those wide eyes. This prime press folder is his.
It would seem that this trial is not destined to end yet, after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony.
That's great. That is. Let me get a shot of the magnificent beard, Your Excellency.
You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administrating the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim.
I'm a journal and I'm a man. I never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. I'm not about to start now because that's many memorism. For a brief moment, I thought I illuminated the truth, but I slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us?
If he slaps his overalls against his chest one more time, how is it not hurting him? His nipples must be on fire, man. Give me 1 second. Non-existent nips. He had them surgically removed so that he could slap his chest as much as he wants. He's into that. Ew. Ew. No. Right, Chippy? You know that looks nothing. That looks nothing like him. This looks like a very distinguished gentleman. Not the shaking mess we see. 38? He's even older. Also, so I haven't actually analyzed this yet. Can I use this? German is the international language of medicine. I didn't know that. That's cool. He's doing little sneezes. Aww, pug sneezes. Can I use it? I want to use it. Okay. Can I have a theory. Can I take this off? You know the coffee cup bug sacks? Yeah. The one I totally caught via you catching it. Yes. I want to analyze this. I want to use that medicine stuff for this. I saw a theory saying that it was Tiffany's What? What? But like, when people eat bug snacks, they just like deteriorate into food, right? To like feed the island, I guess? They don't actually become a bug snack, do they? Alright, back to it.
Oh, yes. I stabbed the Englishwoman, and it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'm already poisoned her? But I heard the student girl and the pompous English murderer again arguing. He got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done. So, you admitted then that everything happened as I described? That you were the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the read screen? You can blame this miserable country of ours. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of the charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right into there.
So he did stab her. Dude.
As someone who spent his life seeing the truth that is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got her before me. And that's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. You're implicating Ray again. She's the one who gave the poison to the English woman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap, this General here is off the hook.
I mean, you still attempted murder. Can you not still go to jail for that? The argument is sound, certainly. If the witness had administrated the poison himself, he need only have waited for it to take effect. So secretly stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical.
And therefore, this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical. That's right, it is. Logical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last! This is unbelievable. And after I made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he gonna get away with it now?
Slap those chubby cheeks.
Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruto-san. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel.
Very well done, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial. Oh, here we go, guys. The last one.
Yes, Your Excellency.
That's very interesting, Trippy. What was, like, the main basis for the argument that, like, she turned into a coffee cup? I'm really interested. Because, like, as far as I tell, I don't know anything about the grandma.
Oh yes, I stabbed that English woman, and it's that very fact that reason I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if it already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl and the pompous English murderer arguing, I got my goat. If the court weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done.
All right.
Hold it.
That's what I thought too, Drippy. Because, like, he's in the post-credit scenes. So, like, he still exists. He is still alive.
So, you do admit that you had murderous intentions toward Miss Brett. Ha! Someone's very existence offended my sense of justice. Your sense of, he's claiming some kind of righteous indignation. She was pure evil, a cold-blooded killer who committed murder right here on our empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance, so I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice. Put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to do it.
But one of the tapes say that he took care of Lotta Blog, Tiffany's grandma. But the only confusing thing is that you can see her skull at the top of the mountain. Is that actually her skull? Was that confirmed? I'm assuming it is. But when we found the skull, Triffany was like, oh, this can't be her. She lost all her teeth before, like, when I knew her. So it couldn't really, it shouldn't be because there was no teeth. There were teeth in that skull. A lot of this theory is assumption. Okay, that's true. I think that part rules it out, though. They confirmed in the game it wasn't her.
For the flag of justice, put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty, but that's what drove me.
But continue, I'm still curious.
So, in summary, murderous intentions then. Whatever you want to call it, the point is this. That English woman was a blight, so I had to do what was right for society. Yes, yet a real wrong was done by the student girl on the dock, a crime for which she must pay.
Oh, that's the only evidence? Oh. It's a stretch. Yeah, it does sound like a stretch. It sounds like a very big stretch. But like, words. No, I forgot what I was gonna say. Hold on, I'll come back to the thought.
Obviously, because the poisoning was nothing to do with me at all. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if it would have been poisoned her?
Oh, oops. No, go back.
Hold it. So you still maintain that you didn't give up the poison to the victim? Obviously, that'd be like putting the belt on your trousers when you were already wearing braces like these. The accused administered poison, following which the witness stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one for murder. The crime rests on the accused's shoulders. That is how the law works, you see, yokel. And who knows, you may even learn something here today.
2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes. Quite a day for the victim. Yeah, she had a rough day.
Do something that evil and you've got it coming. That's how that law works, the law of reckoning. That's not the kind of law this court upholds.
You will reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim witness.
What exactly were they arguing about? About what happened in the restaurant 9 months ago, that's what. The student girl was laying in the English woman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson.
Yes, John H. Wilson. A professor of medicine invited her from England by Professor Mikatoba, no less.
Right, but the English woman was jailed. Her case was to be heard. Her case was to be heard by the British consular court in Shanghai. However, there was little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. He was eating that student girl up inside. You could see it. I really felt for her.
Oh? Oh, hello.
I can't stand here and listen to this tribe. Ray! Young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whenever you feel like it. No, you can't.
Sasuke-san, you good there, man?
Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. But this awful man is making all this up. Sato, please, you have to make them listen.
Return to the dock at once, Mambami-san. We're in the middle of a cross-examination.
Hold it. Your Excellency, please, I implore you. That journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly. He's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, great peeping Tom. Whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks.
I will grant the request of the defense.
But, Your Excellency!
This is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison.
Hold it!
The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her of being the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson.
That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. It's burger night? We're having burgers? Oh my god, Drippy. You're winning, dude. Burger night? That's freaking awesome. Burger. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed from the government. Literally winning. Indeed. All visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. That's true! I pestered Professor Mikotoba until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we've been developing, you see. And since Sasuke-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away, other than the fact it was an extremely potent substance. I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had singularly terrible experience with deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that.
To find out if my suspicions are true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government, even. It would be a complete disaster.
I'm so sorry. About what? The burger? Jippy, it's okay, man. You're winning. You deserve to be happy about your win. And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns?
She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually.
Oh, yes. Many Memelson. One small question, if you don't mind.
I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy?
Clearly, you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably, then, it was you who wrote this article about what you heard. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yumai Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in this morning's edition of Show You News. Show You News. The newspaper that will show you news. I took him outside and he just started eating grass and then came back in. So cute. It's burger night. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else.
Huh, I'm sorry. Don't know what you're talking about. Yes. Look at this. The entire article. It's almost what I said to Miss Brett word for word. Huh? Well, Manny Memelson. As a journo and as a citizen of free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of Manny Memelsonism. Father's clearly right about this. The reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from the outside the hut.
What's my VIP price? What does it cost right now? I said I'd give it to you half off. Hold on, what does it cost right now? Yes, half off. So 50k streamer. Should I try and recreate the ultimatum, Drippy? No. I would like to see you alive. I don't think so. It takes straight a year. No! That's not true, streamer. That's not true. If you keep this up, you'll be there in no time, man.
The reporter did write the article, and he based it on what he overheard from the outside the hut.
I would die for the ultimate. Please don't, Drippy.
So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with a stinking story about me arguing with her. Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you said, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want it to go on record.
Very well. You may amend your formal testimony.
Ha! Ha! Ha!
Okay. If you poison someone, there'd be no reason to... Yes, this one.
Who's it? Perhaps you doubted the efficiency of the poison and sought to make sure their victims would die. That's horse dung. What? That would be like pouring pepper on your Chinese ramen before you'd even tasted it. Completely reckless. Although, it might surprise you to learn that I'm a bit of an impetuous peppered prower as it happens. Once the victim had taken the poison, she would have been only minutes away from death. And yet, this man then proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There has to have been a good reason for that.
If it was a reporter who gave the poison to Miss Brett, then clearly he must have done it prior to Ray entering the hut.
Yes, that's undeniable.
But between him leaving the hut and the victim being stabbed, there was one very crucial change in the situation.
Sorry? What change?
The reporter overheard the conversation between Ray and the Englishwoman.
Ah, yes, that's it. That's when Mimi Mellison first found the exact nature of the poison he'd use. That could be... What? That could be the key here.
A burger night. Hold on. Let me look at the new newspaper article. Following a lecture by Saki-san, deadly poison being secretly developed at universities, forensic scientists and was stolen. Even the smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university must be consulted. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death, suggestive toxins. Impaired breathing. Maybe he couldn't hear her breathing? Accepting this woman is very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I've already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl at the prompt English murdering arguing, it got my goat. We were discussing the stolen poison. The point is, if you'd poison someone, there'd be no reason to then go and stab the person as well. Can I be in the thumbnail of episode 2, please? We'll see. We'll see, Drippy. We'll see. Let me save. That's a hard no. 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 It's a maybe. That's like one of those parents that won't give a firm answer, just says maybe. You're like, it's a no. I want to analyze the tip. I feel like the pen might have poison in it. Can I take the rest of it off? No. I want to use this. Let me use it. I'm stumped. Do you guys get any ideas? Okay, let's press on this one again. I'm just gonna read it carefully. You doubted the efficacy of the poison and sought to make sure your victim would die. That's horse dung. That would be like pouring pepper on your Chinese ramen before you'd even tasted it. Completely reckless. Although it might surprise you to learn that I'm a bit of a pepper pourer as it's happened. Once they had taken the poison, she would have been only minutes away from death. And yet, this man then proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There has to have been a good reason for that. If the reporter gave the poison to Miss Brett, then clearly he must have done it prior to Ray entering the hut. That's undeniable. But between him leaving the hut and the victim being stabbed, there was one very crucial change in the situation. The reporter overheard the conversation between Ray and the Englishwoman. That's when Mendelsohn first found out the exact nature of the poison he'd used. That could be the key here. If the victim had unwittingly taken the poison already, the reporter would have had no reason to stab her. The logic sounds entirely reasonable. We could think of a plausible explanation as to why he might have stabbed her even after the poisoning. Okay. Arigato Oni-san. So then... Oops. I didn't mean to do that. Wait. The other girl just reacted. Hold on, hold on. Oh, I think I need to press on things now. Hold on. Hold on. Skip. Thank you. Okay, press. That's not the one I meant to press on. Uh-huh. No, it's the first one. Was it not? It won't let me look at other people's reactions. So, maybe he applied the poison wrong? Maybe? I'm looking for anything, man. Mr. Fairy Odd Parents over there just standing there. I have nothing to say.
Hold it.
Think about how she killed Dr. Wilson. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had the knowledge of the new poison. How did she kill him again? I remember it was a poison, but I don't remember how he applied it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was no meatball emoji? That's very sad, Trippy. I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government even. It would be a complete disaster. Maybe that's why he stabbed her? He was like, oh no, the whole military is gonna be involved? I better make it look like she was just stabbed instead. Maybe? But I don't have anything to prove that, do I? as a way to redirect money. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Ace. Because maybe he was like, oh, I don't want the government to get involved, or for some reason he didn't want it to escalate, you know? He just wanted it to look like a murder, so that's why he stabbed her. But I'm trying to figure out what to present to, like, show that, you know? Who do you hate, Drippy? Spaghider? Is that the what's his name from Bug Snack, the spider guy? If so, I also hate him. Oh, and what could I present? Oh my God, Drippy Cameron. I am so angry. Okay, let me save, and then I'm gonna throw everything in my inventory at him. Something's gotta activate it, you know? I think we're right though, Ace. I think he did it to redirect the blame. Boo doo doo doo. Coffee, don't don't pump him up for that. Let's try the newspaper.
Objection!
Did that work?
Well, I can think of one reason. What? What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information in the newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut? Of course he did! There can be no question of that! After all, when we were in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin. And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Mbani-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink. Objection! Where are you going with this counsel? Mary Mendelsohn has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. And if the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it.
Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Mbani's son entered the hut. Yes, very articulately put.
When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Manny Mendelsohn overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy, and that it couldn't be readily obtained.
Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab.
And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death. The extreme constriction of the pupils, yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poison that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people.
Ah! Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Mbami's son had been no exception.
Therefore, we conclude that whoever administered the unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. Hug, huh? In other words, someone like you. Written many memo. Cat! Good morning, Cat. How are you doing? Yeah! It was you who stole the person from the laboratory that day. Then it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learnt of these facts. But you already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involves stabbing the victim in the back through the reed screen. Objection! But what good could that possibly do? Isn't that obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect.
Once in the blood, the poison causes onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he?
Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison use, no one would ever have suspected.
This is extraordinary. This game will put you back to bed. Drippy? Shush.
Yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use, which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back. Ha! Yeah.
Order! The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Literally a bedtime story? No, it's not. It's just, no, there's murder and death in it. You don't give someone a bedtime story of murder and death. That keeps them awake. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward?
Well, there are a number of, yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnants of his top knot, he is clinging to lost hope. Lost hope?
Oh my god. No, no more. We got him. We got him. Oh.
Ah, you pathetic useless fallen samurai! Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? I don't need a counter-argument. But what are you talking about? It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. Gave it to the victim, you say. Stabbed her, you say. Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence?
Uh-oh. At least 38 times. You're not wrong.
Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? Without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts.
Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself.
I mean, what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here in my many memos. Every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Show You News is famous for. Show You News. It's the power of the printed word.
We just got a flashback.
How's that then? Blowing the story wide open. See? Hi, Rayton Memo, a mere reporter from the Show You News. Couldn't possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory. But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill. And if that's the case, as you have identified, the poison itself is definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is a true culprit here. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country
Annoyingly Oh my god, she's confusing him. He's like, oh my god, why am I attracted to this man in this courtroom?
My point is this. There is one way that you, Manny Memelson, could have stolen the poison that day.
I have heard enough verbal conjecture now, thank you. What the court must be shown as evidence. What proof do you have that witness stole the poison on this day in the question? Let me save. It has to be the pen. He took the poison in the pen. Let's try the pen first.
Take that! The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen.
A fountain pen? How could that possibly be relevant?
These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now. Bah! I swear by a weasel hair, calligraphy brush, and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad.
Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck up a soup comb of sumptuous ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye.
That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later. And what does all this talking of sucking up ink have, huh? And just as it's possible to suck up ink into the reserve, it's also possible to eject it through the nib, of course.
The nib? My word, can this really be?
Well, Manny Memelson. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison out through the nib and into the pen's reservoir.
The K-pop thing. Oh my god, the little heart, the little heart with your fingers.
Ah! My absurdity! That never happened! True, we've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone else have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places?
That's what the business end of a pen is called. The business end. Really? The nib. Didn't know that. The nib. No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say.
I mind the court that this pen was found in the clutch of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Manny Memelson. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped?
Are you suggesting?
The natural conclusion is that your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment. You dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from it into her glass. Objection! There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using the pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand. Objection! No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? What? As you can see for yourself if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink in the presence of the reservoir. newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled this reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass. Yeah.
Witness, what do you have to say in your defense?
So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? Oh, I'm Wolverine! I can always claw my way back into this game. I have plenty reserve.
Oh! Wow, he is in fact, Wolverine.
Yeah, you claim I sucked the poison up into my pen. That's wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again.
It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter. Now, oops, wrong voice. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence.
No such evidence could possibly exist.
Objection!
Memmy memo, son. This is how our modern justice system works. What? In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Because we are all well past the point of speculation at this point, I assure you.
Very well, then. Boop, boop, boop. By means of this item, it was a
Take that!
Counsel, what is this bottle?
This bottle contains unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question.
Yes. The poison is entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by the colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method.
Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. A reagent? What?
It's like that one game where the game is like the game that is like this game. Wow, you're right, Drippy.
One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Memmy Memmelson, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. No, you can't. I won't.
Oh my god, he's gonna go full Wolverine.
Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once.
Oh.
This isn't my fault! The Empire drove me to do this, trying to hold a high civilization, but bullying him in foreign powers. Look at my words for Piney Pen and tell us the news and all the injustice and righteousness and many memo! Sasato, with me.
Oh my god!
I'm there! Together! Did I do it right? That was a Sasato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryutato takedown.
That was amazing.
Together with me. Ah! The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present.
What is this game? This game is amazing is what it is, Cat.
When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got a hold of me and I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the resolve out carefully. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen. Yes, that's right.
Answer me one thing, Memo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose?
Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journo like me to pass up. Then why did the English woman end up dead? I went into that hut intending to quiz her on the situation. That's all as a reporter. A known killer, enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face. Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism? Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways. You ignorant plebeian. What did you call me? This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from. Ah!
Cat, dead lady is also a murderer and has a real-life swan on her head.
That's what I remembered. About the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time.
What a terrible tale.
In my head, I knew I should just get out of here as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all.
Clem, I don't know. Like, the swan was just lying there. Maybe the swan also had poison. We don't know.
I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journo spirit getting all fired up.
I hope he's okay. Me too.
Yay! I'd like to ask you something. Yes. Well, the swan's still alive. You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought. There's no justice in the press. Sorry? After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what happened in the courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was. A cover-up? What do you mean?
I will remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say.
Oh, come on! Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away in the sunset, a free woman. The only possible explanation is that, behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. What sort of deal? I done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore up the article.
He came under pressure from the government, you mean?
If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Memo-san, that you committed murder yourself, and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Jezile Brett. Ah!
Was the original cast? This, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, Kat. Yeah, Not Born. This is in the past. We are playing as, he's not here right now, but we're playing as, Phoenix. I almost called him Ace Attorney. Phoenix Wright's ancestor.
What?
And we're assuming this is Maya's ancestor.
The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. Hi. I suppose.
It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. I'm going back to bed. Counsel for the defense, Ryutaro Naruto.
Oh! Ah, yes, ahem. Sorry, Your Excellency.
It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. This cast is like chef kisses, Kat. If you like the first cast, you'll love this one.
Oh! Ryunosuke, you mean?
Wait, what do you say? It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminding me of your cousins. Aww. The way he handled the trial 9 months ago, and the way you handled this one, it gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land.
That's very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most kneeling. That the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries.
Thank you.
So, Prosecutor Ouchie, do you have any final thoughts? What is that? Is he about to kill himself? is he about to commit, what's it called? When you stab the blade into yourself?
Prosecutor Ouchie! I, Takasuchi of the Ouchie clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once, but twice.
Oh, also, Kat, this is, I don't know if you know him, but Prosecutor Payne, this is his ancestor, Prosecutor Ouchie.
If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today. Gosh, your journey to culture enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence! Rather than living on in shame,
Stop.
I will end it all now with this blade. For that is the true path of Ouchieism. Ouchieism?
Oh, one hopes that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness.
Sprig of my top knot, the time is right, for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Takasuchi.
Did he just quote himself? Oh no, the glistening! They're praying! A single tear dropped on the oh my god, they're all praying! Oh, guys, we've witnessed a great tragic event here today. Now, in regard to the defendant, Raymond Bomison.
Yes, Your Excellency.
That man, he's alive? Oh, yeah, the waiter guy? Yeah, he was in the last part you missed the other day. He had a turtle on his head. Also, he is still coughing up blood. I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not a guilty. Petals. Aw, that's so lovely. That's so pretty. they'll just move on like that was totally a normal thing, right, Coffee? Court is adjourned. Yay, Mr. Turtle was adorable. Boo, boo, boo. We did it! We did it! And perfect timing, too.
It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing. Lawyers have such great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruto-san? Sasato, Sasato. Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Ray and Father. Pushes him out of the way. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... Oh no, I think I'm gonna cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end too.
Do you see her face go?
The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Ray. So I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you. Sasato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, lovers, and the trial's over, so no more of this formal, super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw some caution to the wind, maybe kiss? Caution to the... what? I'm the greatest defense lawyer, Raitaru Naruto, and I'm taking you out to Milk Bar tomorrow.
Wow, she didn't ask. She's like, I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow.
Or something. Right, I see. I'll think about it, Ray. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man. And it felt so good.
Oh, Kat, you should have seen them yesterday. When she showed up and Susato was like... well, yeah, or something. No, you got when she showed up dressed as a boy, she was like, oh my god, she was like blush. She's like, oh my god, like you're my defendant. You're so handsome and dashing. And I'm like, mm-hmm. Ken! I will check Discord after stream, I promise, dude. Wait, I missed. What did you say? We really knocked the wind out of that horrid man and it felt so good.
Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together?
I hope you're not looking at me, Ray.
Oh, my goodness. No, of course not. Of course not. Ah, there it is at last. Ray's lovely smile.
Could Ray be Maya's ancestor? Maybe. I don't know. Are they both Maya's ancestor? Oh. Honestly, they could be. You fought for your friend to the very last. Oh, he was referring to streamer that does Twitch. Got you. Got you. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense attorney Ryutaro Naruto.
Thank you. But I couldn't have done it without your help.
Yes, they are, Kat.
Anyway, it's time to bid farewell. To Raitaru, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotoba now.
The stream broke. They were large besties.
So, I'll never see him again then? What a terrible shame.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
What?
Oh my... Whoa! Is happening?
Ah, Satsuki-san, Inspector Hoshinaga. I do hope you're keeping well. Is that really you?
How many things? Oh, hasn't been one of them.
Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope. But it's me. Susatu Mikutoba.
Don't. So dashing, so divine, Mr. Turtle. No! Doubly dashing! Yes, and devilishly divine, just look at you! I had no idea, Mr. Sato-san, Esquire, that you were locum student Naruto-san's Esquire cousin! Astonishingly astounding Ace Attorney! He said it. He said the thing. He said the thing. Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney. He wore a turtle because he was disguised as a bather at the beach. It's part of his disguise.
Poor Satsuki-san, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroidered in. But after Naruto-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Sasuke-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself a great fame as an author.
He explained that too. He said it was his duty as a cop to give the best, what's it called? When you speak on the stand? Best, testify. To get the best testifying whatever possible. So he had to stay in costume as he was then to keep it, you know, as thorough and foolproof as possible. I'm stunned. That's a truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea, and I'm a chief inspector at the police bureau who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less. I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. I see that for him. I believe it. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see.
Just two, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector. I didn't let 3 people die.
Well, I'm a professional, of course. I do glam. I do. I smell cake. It's making me so hungry. It smells so good.
I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes. I really do.
Yes, he's dying. He said he was in his peak condition earlier when he was coughing up blood.
9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant.
So quirky of him.
And then, on the steamship of Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe from the journey. Except we didn't stay safe. Kazuma got murdered. Though that didn't help you, did it, Kazuma-sama?
This man legitimately has 3 people he was supposed to be protecting. They died. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that the English woman committed at the end of last year. Ah, yes! It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes, the man I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer.
On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter. With Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean.
Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course.
Ah, my arch nemesis! How lightly you utter his name! Well, according to the stories published about him in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. Genie! And if that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again. Iris.
As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born.
Yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yuma University, but I also serve another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs.
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
Oh, Drippy, don't remind me. That was so cursed. Oh my god. In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you.
Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you send me back to Japan? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that you collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know, because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way, or harm? Oh, wait, yeah, wait. Hold on. It's been 2 months since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram arrived from Japan. It said that you collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day. But you're in fine... Yeah, we didn't have Chisato in the last chapter because she had to go home because her dad was dying. He's perfectly fine. That's really the only explanation I can think of.
Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Chisato? I'm sorry, my dear. I simply can't. Ugh! Let me go! Oh?
Ha! 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 Memmy Mellison! So, one throw wasn't enough for you. I've got one last thing to say before they take me away. Professor!
Me?
I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate.
Visiting student? Jezebel Brett, you mean?
No, not her! The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago. What? Student of law? He must mean Kazuma? What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma? Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Ah!
What? Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. The judge just throwing down. Bruh. What were you officers playing at? A Bailey's Bay. Yo, no. This is so cursed. This is like when you stand up. This is what it's like. This is so cursed. The judge has to remain behind the judge stand. He's not allowed to be on the same level as us. He's this big, tall guy. He's not allowed to be. No, he's breaking. It's like when you see a teacher in somewhere else other than school. This is not. This is not okay. Oh my god, I hate it. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Yujin, and that it's a good job I came by. Yes, thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly.
Oh, Your Excellency.
Ha 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 ha! The trial's over. I'm not your excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend. Seishiro Jigoku. And may I say that since I last saw you you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance. Susato, he knew?
He knew? Did you know all along? From the start of the trial?
A judge sees everything, Susato. I couldn't let you take the risk. If Shirishiru here hadn't known and then he recognized you. So I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. And bum buddy. So, Shishiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
Before you go, Father.
Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you very much.
What did you think of my Shishiro sling, hey? Shishiro sling? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that. Your Honor, they're gay. No! Listen, the judge in Ace Attorney is always fruity. It's not a rule that I wrote. It just is, okay?
Whatever could Father be hiding from me? I bet Jezal Brett about Dr. Wilson, about his relationship to the judge. And now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama.
It would be, you're gay, Your Honor.
I'm gonna have to bring this up with Father sometime, when nobody else is around.
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba-san Esquire. Yes, could I have a word?
Oh, yes, of course. Sasuke-san, what is it?
I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you.
Oh,
I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England.
this I have to hear. Please, Sasuke-san, tell me at once.
I will. As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness locum student Naruto-san Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. He always looked like he's shitting his pants when right? It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report.
My father?
He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent the telegram to you asking you to return to Japan.
What was it then? The particular part my father was interested in.
I don't really know exactly. But do you remember them? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in.
Of course. I could never forget.
Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case. First shut, Genie.
The second one, you mean the one Mr. Shones forbade any of us to talk about in public?
Oh yeah, he did say that.
Which is why the only case involving you that any member of the public is aware of is the first.
Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious unanswered questions. The horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings. Can we get a flashback? Yeah, okay, good. Because I need a flashback.
That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought that whole business was over. But it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
Flashback? Please? Something? I forget which case that was. Let me turn it up for you guys.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Susato. So we gotta check her notes. Just use Discord. And yay, Susatsu success. I would like to say my current progress. What in the Studio Ghibli land? Good times, good times, good times. Yeah, no, I don't like her voice. I'm not biased at all because I think my voice for her is the best one possible. But that voice just doesn't suit her. Yeah, it really does though, Glenn. Like they could have. Ryan's voice is also just as bad. I don't like it. Episode 2. The Memoirs of Clouded Kokoro. Yes. Yeah, no, exactly, Glenn. There's nothing. Episode 2. We'll watch the intro and then we'll end stream.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
My name is Ryan Osuke Naruto. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out my journey. 6 months ago, Oh, it's him. He's back, guys.
It's okay. No, we'll quit here. Yo, I'm trying to remember. This was what's his name? Sasuke, the writer. He was in 2 cases? I only remember the first one. Oh, let me turn it back down. I only remember, like, they thought he stabbed a woman, but really it was a knife that flew out the window and landed into her. I don't remember. Anyways, that's it for stream today, guys. Next week, we will be continuing. We'll finally see Ryanosuke Naruto again. I'm super excited. I miss my boy. And also Herlock Sholmes and Iris. Hopefully we see the new costumes soon too, because they're really, really good. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a great time. I had a great time. I will see you guys next week. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.